Hello and welcome everyone, I am Madals and welcome to another StarCraft 2 England cast. Today I've got game 1 of a best of 3. It is between MilkDealer, the green Zerg player, in the top right position, and Nimitz, who is of course the red Protoss, in the lower left position. It's from Go for SC2 and it is obviously going to be a ZVP. The map is Daybreak, which of course is everyone's favourite map, right? If it isn't, let me know in the comments, because then we'll all know that there are people who don't absolutely adore this map, and if you do adore this map, let me know in the comments as well. Anyway, what can we expect from these two? Well, from the Protoss player, we should see a pylon down here, either Forge or Nexus first, a quick expansion. Out of MilkDealer, well, we should see a 14 or 15 pull into a 16 hatch. Now, I'm not actually sure if MilkDealer is just a Smurf account for Fruit Dealer, or if it's just like an honorary name. I don't genuinely know that, which is a shame. If you know, let me know in the comments. But that, we'll wait and see. But it should be a good game either way. I know this, well, from what I've been told, this is an epic game, which is why I'm casting it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Let me say, guys, exciting news. I'm going to be going to I-47 in, well, between the 28th and 2nd of November 28th of December. No, 28th of November till the 2nd of December. God, if I could speak right, it would be easier. And basically, it's the biggest gaming festival in the UK, so if you're going to be there, say hi to me. I'm going to be doing some casting, some observing, etc., and generally having a whale of a time. Meanwhile, we've got a gateway down here from Nimitz, and that is pretty exciting because usually we tend to see a Forge or Nexus first, not a gateway first, especially on the low ground, so that is awesome. We've got pylon blocking the natural. Now, if you're a Zerg player and you get annoyed with a pylon block of the natural, the solution, take your third first, and that is precisely what MilkDealer is going to do right now. Obviously, the spawning pool on its way down, and I've got to say, Nimitz, if I start calling him Nimps or something like that, I'm sorry, I don't know why, I just think I'm going to fall for that sometime if I get too excited later on. Anyway, looking around the map, we've got good overlord placement. The overlord scouted that gateway first, so it's going to be a one-gate expansion, which is quite a risky opening in my opinion, because it leaves a lot of space in the wall off, especially when you're expanding on the low ground, but it is obviously something which you can hopefully deal with once you see the scouting information gathered by this probe to know that you're not going to die. We do have 4 Zerglings on the way, and of course those 4 Zerglings in some ways can be too many, and as you can see, the third base hasn't gone down yet, so this is really going to delay the Zerg players' expansions, which of course hurts their production and income. So it is actually quite an effective use of a pylon here. This will go down very quickly though, and of course the traditional timing that a Zerg player aims for is about 4 to 4 minutes 20 on their third base, and of course the natural only just going down now. The third base is going to have to start pretty damn quick, and it looks like it was started but then cancelled again, so I'm not quite sure what was going on there. If we look at the lost tab, it was definitely cancelled, so that is pretty confusing. But looking here, we do of course see that there is no expansion down here, so this is clearly the concern to the Zerg players. If there's no expansion, I don't need my third yet. There's a second gateway on its way. We've got of course the complete wall off there. We've got warp gate tech on its way down. We've got the one gas, and this is quite an interesting opening, which would be very effective if it wasn't of course for the fact that there was an overlord sitting there being like, I know you don't have an expansion, everything is just fine for me. But anyway, we've got a third gateway now, so it is like it's a secret expansion. It's going to be a 4-gate. Wow, so this is a 4-gate on the low ground, which again, it's like it's trying to be super sneaky, except it got scouted, so it's about as sneaky as sort of like a ninja elephant or something, which I'm now picturing in my head, and I hope all you are too. It'd be very funny. But looking around, we of course have these Zerglings trying to deny that pylon, but they're going to go the wrong way, and the probe does manage to get it down. That proxy pylon, is it within scouting range? Was it seen? No, it was just out of position, so that Zerg player is just sitting there. MilkDealer's like, hey, I'm safe, everything's good. He's getting the spine crawlers down though. He knows this is some kind of freaky one-base play. If we look at the information he's got, well, he knows there's still no natural. He knows there was a gateway down, and I believe he knows that, yep, he knows there's a cyber core. He hasn't actually scouted out any more of the gateways though, so he doesn't quite know exactly what's going to be coming at him, but he does know that it's not an expansion, so it is a one-base play. Lots of Zerglings coming out. This is precisely the right thing to do. More spine crawlers can come down. I mean, I'd almost be thinking of a third spine crawler now I'm not seeing anything. The other thing you've always got to worry about is, hey, what if it's an air play? What if it's, I don't know, DT rushes or anything? So an Evo chamber might not have been a bad idea, but as you can see, those Zerglings, the Zealots are poking forward. The Zerglings are in an okay spot. Speed has been started. That single Stalker taking some fire. A big warp in will probably come in momentarily. We've got more Stalkers added on. We should see another warp in of units fairly soon. If we look here, they are about halfway through the next warp in. Those Stalkers trying to do some damage, but the Zerglings on their way through it. If they go good surround, they're going to be an amazing spot, going straight for those Stalkers, trying to knock them all out. But of course, the further you push them back, the better. Of course, the problem is the Zealots are very strong against Zerglings. The Stalkers force back by the Queen, doing a good job. That forward pylon is going to get taken out, and that will supply block the Protoss player, which is going to be incredibly frustrating, especially because there isn't another on the way. And this is just great work straight away from the Zerg player, in effect denying this 4-gate incredibly effectively. The Overlord has of course scouted the second gas, but still no expansion. So really, if you're the Zerg player now and you've got all these units on, don't try and counter-attack, in my opinion. Well, you've got to try and do some kind of counter-attacking because you've just got so many units on the field, but really your primary thing you want to look for is getting drones out. You need to drone heavy and quickly. Even though you're ahead, even though you're base up, there comes down the natural base. That's Zealot. He's going to have to sit there for quite a while. The sentry will hold this for a long time, and I'm not quite sure how that pylon was taken out, actually. Maybe I missed that, but these two warp gates are now unpowered, which is a bit of a problem. Looking, obviously, these Zerglings can just keep being a threat. They know exactly where everything is. Made the pylon too far to the left. Sad face is definitely there, but looking around, obviously, what else have we got? Well, the Zerg player happily going for this now. Probably going to take a third base relatively soon. Knows the natural is down, I believe, if we look at the vision. Yep, knows that's gone down, so should start a third base fairly soon. Should get it about now. Got enough money to. Lair already started. The gas timing's not really going any further. Getting the Rotron up. One gas is fine. The second gas now on its way, and we really, really need to see this third base taken now, in my opinion. There's no reason to wait. Definitely no tech you're not really missing out on. Getting up the Evo chamber, and there we go. Third base started. That is brilliant. The Zerglings still being a threat, and it's going to take actually quite a large force to move out to make those Zerglings no longer potentially very dangerous. We've got the Robo facility coming down. Double forward, so we can see double upgrades from the Protoss. And of course, the Protoss player isn't in an amazing spot because has been behind in workers the entire time and didn't do any damage pretty much. Actually lost more from that failed 4-gate than he actually did in damage. So this could potentially be a problem. We've got now the third gas coming up for the Zerg player. All the regular normal timings are completely thrown off the wall now. So it can become a little bit difficult, especially for lower league players, in understanding what you really do. And well, if you've held off something like that, just go into a more standard game. Just get your gases when you feel you need them. Tech up as you feel you need it. Obviously, the lair timing is good. I'd start thinking about getting infestors because obviously you've got to be thinking, where is my timing going to be going and how can I really capitalize on what I've gained, which is, of course, basically an economic lead. And the way you really deal with an economic lead when you can't go and just kill them is by getting a tech upgrade. So here we go. We've got the Hydra Den coming down, and now that's quite a risky strategy. In some ways, it's really, really strong because it's potential that your opponent is going to go into an airplay or something like that. Colossi are going to take a long time to go on the field, but it seems it has got cancelled actually. So that Hydra Den was cancelled, goes to an Infestation Pit, and I think that's a better choice overall. Infestors are very, very strong against everything, so it is a good move to do that. Obviously the Hydra's wreck gateway units, but it only takes like 2 Colossi, and suddenly you've got sad times. Now, Hallucinated Voidway is not going to be too scary, to be honest, because the Queens are going to start hitting it, and it's going to be very, very obvious that, hang on, that isn't a Voidway. The Spore Crawler already down, though, just in reaction to seeing it basically from an Overlord, I imagine. Looking around, we've got some units moving out. Now, where are all those Zerglings? They are down here, so if that does get spotted, which it will from the Watchtower, obviously just surrounded, and this force could get taken out exceptionally quickly with Speedlings, so surprised that that wasn't capitalized upon. Obviously, the worker count looking absolutely amazing for the Zerg player. Still needs about another, well, roughly 20 workers would be lovely. And, well, the Protoss player looks like he's going to go and take his third base, which is a bold move. He was behind, obviously, by delaying his natural so much, but you've got to be careful about taking it too quickly and getting a big counterattack, because for the moment, all we see as well, just more units coming out. And, well, we've got the Hydra Den up, we've got the Infestation, the Hydra Den. Wow, the Infestation Pit was cancelled to build the Hydra Den. That was a bit of a strange move, but of course Hydras are now a viable option because, let's face it, the tech route taken by the Protoss at the moment is, well, Immortals, and Immortals are wrecked by Hydras, Stalkers and Sentries, and all gateway units are wrecked by Hydras, so definitely a potentially good move. The Zerglings coming in, and to be honest, I'm surprised these Zerglings aren't just going for it, because there's one Zealot in there, and while the Sentries could get some good force fields, you could force some force fields very, very early, which would be a very annoying thing for the Protoss player to try and deal with. Looking round, of course, we do have, well, the 2-2 upgrades coming out for the Protoss player, as well as 2-1 on their way for the Zerg. Pathogen Glands on its way, researching the 4th base, just started up here for the Zerg player, ready, so staying on base ahead all the time, that's fantastic. Worker count-wise, 64, needs about 10 more workers, then I'd be super happy. We've got Hive starting and Spire starting at the same time, so this is just really the Zerg player going into fairly normal mode, of let's get up Broodlord Infestor, because it's good. 15 more workers on the way, and that is going to put him in an absolutely beautiful position to start doing some good damage. Another hallucinated Phoenix on its way over. That's going to get some good scanning information. A double expansion coming out from the Zerg. That is absolutely lovely to see, and could be really effective indeed, because let's face it, if you get double expansion, you get lots of units out, and well, you get lots of workers out, and you get lots of income, and then you can really just resupply instantly. Of course, that's the strength of Zerg, is even if your first army dies, you can have another one built and ready instantly. So that is something that I think is going to be very effective. The Stargate coming out now, the Robo Bay just finishing up for the Protoss players, so Colossus are now tech path viable. Obviously the Stargate is just ready to get the fleet beacon out, and therefore the mothership in order to get Vortex. I love this. This is just absolutely fantastic play from MilkDealer. Build a load of spine crawlers, because Broodlord Infestor is slow and useless if it's the other side of the map, and you need things like a gazillion spine crawlers just to basically defend while your army kind of sluggishly comes back over to be like, oh, I'm dying, I better come and sort that sort of shizzle out. Anyway, Corruptors on their way. No Greater Spire started yet. Should get started soon. Enough money for it, so you need to get that going really quite quickly, because it takes 100 seconds to build, and that is always a pain. But as you can see, still not started yet. MilkDealer instead just getting out those Corruptors, getting out those Infestors, and well, to be honest, there we go. There goes the Greatest Spire just in time. The Corruptors are going to be good against a small number of Colossi rather. Of course, the first Colossus just hitting the field now. This third base quite nicely defended. Those Photon Cannons in a good position. The Observer getting good scouting information, but looking here, both players actually in a nice spot. In terms of the work count, 75 there for MilkDealer. Exactly the number you want. It's just perfect. The fourth base up, he could get a handful more, about 6 more just to really start mining gas faster, because gas is obviously the limiting factor here. 3-3 ground upgrades coming down for the Protoss player, as well as 3-2 melee upgrades for the Zerg. We've got the fleet beacon on its way, a couple more drones coming out for the Zerg player at the moment. This Protoss player trying to take his 4th base, which is a good move. Obviously the 5th base already up for the Zerg, so that's fine. But obviously this 4th base is quite vulnerable, but for a Protoss player it's actually not too bad to hold, because obviously when you're sitting here in this sort of position, you've got your 3rd covered and your natural covered. The downside, of course, is if there were drops, but that's quite unlikely from a Zerg player. Meanwhile, lots and lots of Zerglings coming around here, perhaps predicting there's going to be some kind of attack, but it would seem not. The mothership on its way out, the 2nd Spire on its way. Meanwhile, double spine crawler in the main, ready to deal with drops, ready to defend all of his tech, which is nicely situated next to each other for easy picking off. Obviously, we've got these Zerglings and Infestors moving around, so perhaps going to go and try and get a nice attack angle. We've got some Broodlords on the way. Adrenal Glands coming down, that is a very important upgrade. Neural Parasite ready to grab that mothership. So, really, MilkDealer here just being like, I'm going to get all of the upgrades possible, because I like upgrading, and it's a good move, because Zerg generally can deal with things as long as they have the right units and the right upgrades. So good move there. Obviously the mothership, when that comes out, things get a little bit more interesting and Vortex become a lot more potent, but MilkDealer, the only criticism I may have is being a little bit passive. Could perhaps try and be a bit more aggressive. Those Zerglings have, of course, been spotted by that Zealot. The Zealot is 2-2 against 2-1 Zerglings. Zerglings, though, will have Adrenal Glands shortly. That makes them very strong. About to be 3-2 as well, so that is really good. But 3-3 about to finish up, so the Protoss does have a slight upgrade advantage at the moment. The Templar Archives coming down somewhere. It's a good question whether. There we go. So High Templar will be coming out. Archons, obviously the end game of that. Maybe a couple of Storms potentially. But Archons are the really important thing, because if you Vortex and put the Archons in there, well, then as soon as it comes out, the Archons shoot the Broodlords and do splash damage to where all the Broodlords are clumped up. Then there's lots and lots of dead Broodlords, which means happy times for the Protoss player. Now, obviously, this 5th base for the Protoss, that's going to be taken out quickly. The Protoss army coming down, and this is where really you can be a lot more effective if you just split up a small force of your army to just come into, say, the natural base or the 3rd, because then the Protoss can't be in 2 places at once, and even though the army is very strong, it's clumped up together, and that means the multi-prong attacks are very potent. Looking around the map, obviously we've got a handful of Zealots just chilling down here. They're just like, yeah, we were told we were meant to fight, but we're lovers, not fighters. We're just going to chill here. The Zerglings, though, they're coming in. They're going to ruin that party. They're taking them out exceptionally fast. They are, of course, 3-2 with Adrenal Glands, so they do just so much damage. It's insane. Meanwhile, the Overseer coming in, just taking a look at the tech, being like, oh, you've got a fleet beacon. The mothership is out, and it's sitting at the 4th base. Obviously, need to get some more Overseers. Burrowed Infestors, what are they going to do? Nothing. Oh, yeah, they are. They're moving forward. I can get really excited about Burrowed Infestors, because they're going to move back. Oh, they're moving forward. They're chucking 1 Infested Terror now. And that is a bold move right there. going to be able to pick off that Observer. Fungal Growth goes down as well, just like, nope, you are not observing me anywhere. That Zealot's still sitting there. In terms of the tech upgrades, obviously we've got the first Archons coming out now, we've got the Psionic Storm on the way, the shield upgrades, the +3 ground carapace, the +1 air armor, and the +2 air attack coming down. So these Broodlords are starting to really ramp up how much damage they can do. A lot of Zealots coming down here though, but they're on move command, not attack move, which means they're just going to get picked off for free. A Fungal Growth could even go down there as well, but it looks like no, the Zergling's just going to go for it. In terms of cost effective, well, as you can see, for a start, for 21 minutes into the game, these two players have lost basically hardly anything. But what they have lost is quite a... Well, the Protoss have lost double the amount. A double Immortal drop coming down here. Trying to do some damage, but of course, lots of units coming in. The Greater Spire getting focused, and well, a lot of damage can be done very, very quickly by Immortals. So those Zealots are going to act as a shield, but it looks like the Greater Spire will survive, and of course, the War Prism gets taken out as well. Meanwhile, we've got the Infestors down here. We've got a good number of Spine Crawlers everywhere. Of course, Spine Crawler walls, absolutely essential as we're seeing here. And the really nice thing I'm seeing from MilkDealer is that as he's building the Spine Crawlers, he is replacing the drones, which is something that a lot of Zerg players forget to do. So while they're really nicely defended, they're suddenly like, hang on a second, I've got nothing, I've got like no income. Now, obviously, we are seeing 4 Stargates coming down here, so this is actually bonkers. We may see carriers, which would actually just make my year. Every time I see carriers in a game, I get all overexcited, and like, I get all giggly. Basically like a schoolgirl meeting Justin Bieber when I see carriers. That's how exciting it is. Carriers are so underused because they're pretty weak, unfortunately, but they're still awesome. Looking around though, what have we got? Well, the Mothership, but we've kind of ended up into the state of the game now where it's Death Ball v Death Ball, where essentially neither player wants to engage, because if they have a bad engagement and they lose their army, they lose the game, which is never particularly fun. 4 Voidways on their way out, so we're not going to see carriers, unfortunately. It's going to be Voidways. But Voidways are still pretty cool. Now, what do you do in this situation as Zerg? Well, to be honest, I'm really surprised that these Broodlords don't just come over here and attack the main base, because you're there. Just move them over a little bit. The Corruptors are there for the support. The Corruptor count is relatively good with 8. We've got a handful of Stalkers moving forward. They may try and get a quick kill on a Broodlord or 2, but those Broodlords are, of course, 1-1. 2-2 nearly done for air as well. Obviously 3-3 ground updates done as well. So Broodlings are doing incredibly good. And now obviously this cloak thing is incredibly resource intensive. So I was getting a bit of frame stuttering there, which is incredible considering my computer is a beast. But well, this is all pretty good. We've got a massive drop coming down in the main though from Nimitz, and well, this could see an awful lot of damage done, and basically, the Greater Spire is protected by an awful lot of Spine Crawlers, which is good. We should see some Zerglings on their way back, as you can see on the mini-map. But obviously, these Spine Crawlers, they are getting taken out relatively quickly. And if the Greater Spire goes down, that would be a big loss. Of course, it takes 200 seconds to get those back. A million Bailings on their way, though. They want to end this quickly, and that they do. More Zealots are warped in. And of course, for the moment, it looks like this warping is near endless. We do have yet more Zealots coming down. More Banelings, though, are there. The Banelings are actually being quite effective against the Zealots, even though Zealots are pretty tanky. The War Prism trying to run away. The Corruptor trying to chase it down. Meanwhile, though, most of the bases down here, most of the army, the 6th base, rather. And, well, carriers. Oh, my God, carriers are on the way. Aren't you excited, guys? If you're excited, just leave me a comment right now with a smiley face. If you're excited about the carriers, just do that. It would be awesome. And then we'll get, like, hopefully a gazillion comments, all with smiley faces, and someone who has no idea about what StarCraft is will just come onto this video and be like, why is everyone smiling? What have I walked into? It would be like that weird kind of gathering of people where you enter the room last and they will just turn around and look at you and smile, and you'll be like, I have no idea what's going on here, and it will really deeply disturb them. But anyway, looking here, we do of course have all of the expansions being taken now. Basically, this is 6 base v 6 base, and maxed out army v maxed out army. We've got the Infestors there. The Infestors all with full energy. If we have a quick count of what's going on, well, we've got a Mothership, 6 High Templar, 5 Archons, 5 Voidways, 3 Colossi, 9 Stalkers versus 17 Broodlords, 9 Corruptors, and 12 Infestors, and just a handful of Zerglings. Of course, they were about to have 5 carriers, which will have the 2-2 upgrades. They're also getting the Graviton Catapult, which of course means they launch their interceptors so much faster. Obviously, a good bit of corruption trying to go down there, but the building already on its way. We've got some Zealots just marching up. That Greater Spire is still a target. I'm surprised some Spine Crawlers haven't been rebuilt, because Nimitz has been doing a good job of harassing everything there, and still these two players are just refusing to engage directly. But this is one of the things that is being addressed in the Heart of the Swarm beta, is that obviously the Protoss when they get the death ball up, don't want to engage because it's quite a slow death ball, and if they move out too far, it can cause some problems, and you end up getting in a position where, hang on, you suddenly can't get back to defend, which is of course where the Mothership core is coming in really, really nicely, and we should see some more aggressive play, and it's all through Blizzard trying to prevent this kind of stalemate death ball v death ball army. Obviously, Zerg players getting Vipers as well. They'll be able to grab some key units across and deal damage to them. Obviously, these air units at the moment, they could potentially be very, very powerful. The carriers can wipe out all of these spine crawlers very, very quickly, should they want. And of course, the Zerg army, nowhere to be seen. And just look at the damage from these interceptors. Is absolutely huge. The Archons moving forward, they need to be a bit careful though. Meanwhile though, the Zerg player is using this opportunity to go and take out the Protoss' 6th base as well. And of course, these spine crawlers are just essentially acting as a buffer and just time-consuming waste for the Protoss players' advancement. Of course, loads of money sitting there at the moment. We've got lots of spore crawlers coming up ready to deal with this. The Broodlords are though 2-2, 3-3, no, +3 flyer attack, +3 armor not coming out yet for them, but because they're just doing so much damage. More Corruptors coming out, MilkDealer doing precisely the right thing. Both players have lost their 6 bases, and of course they are just gonna almost go into a base race situation. But the problem is, obviously, we've got more War Prisms dropping stuff down here. We've got a handful of Banelings just coming back to try and defend, but actually it looks like they're pulling back. And luckily, Nimitz not going down this road, because if he was coming down the back here to try and pick out the 5th base, then he could get pinned out by the Zerg. But it looks like we've got already here the Mothership getting neural parasited. That is brilliant. Double Vortex goes down there, and of course now we're going to see some infested Terrans. Nimitz just like WTF, and well, that is always very, very irritating. We've got loads of infested Terrans coming down. We're going to see a lot of units get picked off here, which is going to be very, very irritating. And infested Terrans actually getting lobbed into the Vortex, which is always fun. The carriers get picked up very, very quickly. So much damage being done here. The Mothership gets taken out instantly, but quite a few Psionic Storms going down as well, trying to pick up those infested Terrans. With the Rulords moving forward, and I think well, the army supplies are pretty much exactly equal. We've got some resupply coming in, 5 more carriers in production. The Broodlords, though, are moving forward towards the 4th base. Both players have spent pretty much all of their minerals, though, but have got huge numbers of gas on both sides there. So clearly we've got a 3rd base getting taken out here by Zealots. The War Prism still warping in more. Action going on everywhere. We've got the Protoss army moving up through the top, trying to pick off some of these spine crawlers. Obviously the Voidways and Colossi are able to take them out very, very quickly and effectively. We've got the Broodlord, Infestor army moving forward, trying to deal more damage absolutely everywhere as we speak. Of course, the Zealots are going to have to be careful where they move around. We've got Zealots at the natural base, which only has spore crawlers defending it and not any spine crawlers, so those Zealots are going to be able to go to town. There's a 2nd Greater Spire here if you haven't noticed, so if at first your Greater Spire is not enough, just build another one just in case. Meanwhile though, Broodlord and Infestor are going absolutely down, and we're getting into a complete base race situation now of who can kill the opponent fastest. And well, by the looks of things, it looks like it's pretty equal at the moment, and it's going to be very, very close indeed. We've got more Corruptors coming out. The +3 flyer Carapace coming down. I'm surprised these Corruptors haven't been pulled back, because this army can pretty much be decimated by Corruptor. The Colossi can be taken out, the Voidway can be taken out, and well, we do have those carriers nearly done. They're 10 seconds away, but unfortunately, I think they are going to go down, especially with the infested Terrans there. The infested Terrans even 3-2, and well, the Pylon gets taken down, so they are not powered. The Corruptors coming back, coming to it. There's only a handful of Stalkers and Archons there, so really this can get taken out very, very quickly by Corruptors. And if only MilkDealer would move in a bit quicker. He's going and he's in a good position here. These are of course 3-2 Corruptors, so they do just a hideous amount of damage and have huge amounts of HP. The Voidways getting taken down, the Colossi getting taken down, and I think MilkDealer should now win this base race quite comfortably. He's got what is this? More Banelings coming down. All the Broodlords coming back as well. I'm surprised he's pulling back the Broodlords, because there isn't really much on the ground for him to take out. The Infestors are there, though. A fungal growth on those Stalkers would be a bit of a problem. Instead, they're just running forward to their own deaths. But here come the Broodlords, and well, look at that damage. How many Broodlords are even on the field? There was 18. They are 3-3 now, Broodlords, so they are absolutely ridiculously strong. Of course, we do have, though, lots and lots of Zealots in the main base. We've got some Banelings moving back, coming possibly to try and defend that. And well, the problem is, it's only really the main base remaining at the time being. And if those Zealots aren't cleaned up very, very quickly, it could run into some problems. But most of the Protoss players' production capability is gone, apart from what is a handful of gateways. The Zerg players' T-Tech is still up, minus the Spire. No, the Greater Spire is still up. Needs to get some generated creep from those Overlords, so to keep it all going. And well, as you can see here, lots and lots of Zealots absolutely everywhere. The Corruptors haven't managed to make it over, but they're absolutely powerless to do anything about it. Meanwhile, though, we've got some Overseers also completely powerless to stop any of this. The Broodlords on their way, though, and well, we've got the problem now. The MilkDealer has not rebuilt his base, and he could lose this game if he doesn't build anything else, and he does. Oh dear, and that is why you should build things everywhere. Didn't come back to defend early enough, and that means the Nimitz does take game 1. So guys, that was pretty funky. It was pretty random. It was a wicked, funky game. If you did enjoy it, I'll see you at Game 2 any second to find out whether this goes to 3 games or whether Nimitz can 2-0 MilkDealer. See you there in a second. Bye for now, guys.